Tonight's top stories. The palace responds to the insinuations and allegations yet again of the embattled vice president against the Marcos government. Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla alleges that Davao City could actually be considered the epicenter of irregularities in flood control projects. The impeachment trial heats up with more revelations and a call by a senator to issue a subpoena against the supposed missing link to the continuing efforts to unravel the truth regarding the alleged misuse of confidential funds. The Philippine Air Force gets a much-needed boost with the acquisition of 7 Black Hawk helicopters to further beef up its capabilities. All these and more on PTV News Tonight. Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. The latest shot from across the bow aimed at the president over the ongoing flood control scam that sadly and yet again falls short and lands with a thud. Just the status of the vice president's failed attempt to discredit the flood control project's probe that was non-existent in her father's entire term. Our Kenneth Paciente has more on yet another misguided statement from the vice president against her boss on the issue of good governance.
Malacanang hit back at Vice President Sara Duterte's latest statements criticizing the administration. The palace responded to the Vice President's points, including her claim that the country is drowning in floods. According to Malacanang, this cannot be denied, particularly in Davao City. But the Marcos administration is already taking steps to address the problem, including issues involving flood control projects.
Nakita po ni Secretary Vince Dizon na merong isang proyekto doon na 2019 pa ay hindi naaayos. At sa 10 taon ay walang dredging na ginawa. Kaya po, inutos ng Pangulo, agad-agad itong ayusin para sa mga kababayan natin sa Davao City. At kung pananagutan lang din naman po ang pag-uusapan, of course, nagsalita na rin po si Ombudsman Boying Remulla na magsisimula na rin po sila sa pag-iimbestiga tungkol sa malaking pondo dito sa Davao City at tinuturing na epicenter ng mga flood control projects. Pero hindi naman po niya ibig sabihin na mayroon na agad na issue ng korupsyon.
Castro also pointed out that it should be shown where the more than 13,000 flood control projects under the term of the Vice President's father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, went after these were reportedly completed in 2022.
Dapat po talaga itong makita at nakikipag-ugnayan din po tayo sa DPWH na dapat natin malaman kung ito ba ay numero lamang o totoong mga nag-i-exist. Kasi napakalaking bagay kung ito lahat ay maayos, nagawa ng maayos, kumpleto, dahil makakatulong ito sa problema ng baha. So kung meron dapat managot dito sa mga proyektong ito, dahil inamin naman ni dating Pangulong Duterte na merong ghost projects sa panahon niya, dapat din natin malaman kasi para mabigay po natin ang kahilingan ng Vice Presidente na managot ang dapat na managot.
On Vice President Sara's claim that the administration is busy violating the Constitution, Castro said the impeachment proceedings against the Vice President are being conducted in accordance with the Constitution. She also said the impeachment proceedings have shown the Vice President's control over the confidential funds based on evidence and testimony from witnesses. That was the palace's response to the Vice President's call for the allegations against her to be proven through evidence rather than through speculation and political theatrics.
Kahapon ay mas lalong naipakita ang mga ebidensya kung saan ang Vice Presidente ay siyang may alam mula sa pagwi-withdraw ng pera, mula hanggang sa paggastos, hanggang sa pagbibigay ng report. So lahat ng activities patungkol dito sa confidential funds ay inamin mismo ng kanyang tauhan sa katauhan po ni Mr. Limuel Ortonio na lahat ng ito ay alam ng Vice Presidente. So ito naman po ay nagpapakita ng ebidensya, hindi lang mga ad hominem na mga pananalita.
The palace also pushed back against Vice President Sara's claim that the administration is focused on measures to remain in power.
Lahat naman ng administrasyon, kahit kaninong administrasyon yan, ay dapat na manatili sa pwesto. So kaninong administrasyon yung gusto niyang manatili, sinasabi niya manatili? Kasi on the part of our President, hindi yan ang nasa isip ng Pangulo. Hindi natin alam kung nasa isip ng Vice Presidente. Parte siya ng gobyerno.
Kenneth, pasyente for the nation.
In the hearing for the proposed budget of his office for next year, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla hinted of Davao City being the epicenter of flood control funding in the last 3 years of the Duterte administration. And given reports of severe flooding in certain parts of Davao City and the 51 billion pesos First District Representative Paulo Duterte received for his area and constituents from 2020 to 2022, a review of the flood control accomplishment reports in the city is in order, as our Carlo Candelaria reports.
Ang epicenter po ng flood control bago dumating ang Marcos administration ay Davao City.
That was the statement of Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla during the House Committee on Appropriations hearing on the proposed budget of the Office of the Ombudsman after Representative Antonio Tino asked about the status of the investigation into flood control corruption issues during the previous administration. According to Remulla, the Ombudsman continues to investigate alleged irregularities in flood control projects, including projects implemented before the Marcos Jr. administration.
Ito po yung pinag-aaralan namin kasi ang mahalaga po, makita namin ang ebidensya sa ground, Your Honor.
Remulla said it is difficult to penetrate the so-called ecosystem of corruption, but assured that they will not stop investigating and gathering evidence. He also said no one will be spared, including officials of the current administration.
Pero wala ho kami pinababayaan. Sasabi ko sa inyo yan. Wala ho kaming pinalulusot dito. Ito po ay lahat ay base sa ebidensya.
In a statement, Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte challenged Ombudsman Remulla to first review the records of the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH before drawing conclusions regarding Davao. Duterte said that if there were anomalies, these should be investigated, and if there is evidence, it should be presented regardless of the year, project, or name involved, with no one exempted. Meanwhile, the proposed 2027 budget of the Office of the Ombudsman amounts to 7.232 billion pesos. During the hearing, it was also reported that the Sandigan Bayan recorded a 65.52% conviction rate this year, higher than the 42% recorded in 2025. According to Remulla, the Ombudsman will continue to carry out its mandate to investigate and file corruption cases based on the evidence gathered. Carlo Candelaria for The Nation.
DPWH Chief Vince Dizon is on a whirlwind quick-fix tour of critical national roads and highways needing urgent repairs. In Benguet Province, he ordered reinforcing the designs of curtain nets along a national road in Tublay, Benguet, and the quick rehab and reopening of a recently shut-down bridge in Cagayan Province, while directing the quick repair of makeshift or interim bridges in the provinces of northern Mindanao. As our J.M. Thompson reports.
The immediate actions of DPWH on roads and highways in various parts of the country are left and right to ensure that they are in good condition and safe for residents and motorists. Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon ordered to further strengthen the design of curtain nets with the help of Japanese partners along Gov Bado Dangwa National Road in Tublay, Benguet to protect passing commuters and motorists against potential rock falls, especially during the rainy season. According to the Secretary, after his inspection last week, this is the agency's response to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to ensure that major roads in Cordillera are safe and in good condition.
Bigin-bigin nga ni Pangulo, talagang itong mga kalye, kailangan unang-una maklear natin, maging passable. Ngayon naman, passable na. Pero kailangan natin ayusin to kasi syempre we have to protect the motorists and the road.
Meanwhile, Ulima Bridge 2 in Rizal, Cagayan is now passable after the DPWH conducted repairs on the bridge, which provides a direct route for motorists and residents from the town of northeastern Cagayan to Rizal town proper and neighboring areas. This is expected to ease the travel of residents and serve as a huge help in providing an alternative route during flooding, especially when delivering relief goods and providing immediate response to affected communities. This is still part of the government's actions to accelerate the movement of commerce in the provinces through the construction of infrastructure connecting communities, markets, and major service centers. Meanwhile, Secretary Dizon was disappointed during his inspection of the old bridges in Tagoloan and Odjongan, Misamis Oriental, after the secretary learned that the replacement for the rusted and crumpled bridges, which pose a safety threat to motorists and commuters, are still not fully funded. According to Secretary Dizon, President Marcos ordered the swift construction of sturdy replacement for the bridges and the construction of additional bridges to ease traffic in the cities of Butuan, Cagayan de Oro, and Iligan.
Before the end of the President's term, tapos na rin itong replacement natin. That is the commitment of the President. He sent me here. In Odjongan Bridge, delikado kasi gumana to. Mga 50 years na pala ito. Habang ginagawa yung bagong tulay, papatibayan natin ulit ito.
J.M. Thompson for The Nation.
The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte has entered its 19th day, with Office of the Vice President or OVP Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortoño returning to the witness stand for the cross-examination of the defense team. Ortoño confirmed that the Department of Budget and Management or DBM recommended the approval of the OVP's confidential fund request to the Office of the President, which approved it. Ortoño clarified he was not involved in the liquidation report drafting, disbursement, and recording of expenses, as these were under the responsibility of former OVP SDO Gina Acosta. He stated that he only met Colonel Raymond Lachica once or twice, recalling Lachica's explanation that the confidential funds were released to informants and agents, representing that the funds will be used for medical and food supplies. During the trial, the OVP physical financial plans for 2022 and 2023 were presented, where exact similarities in the column of physical target were noted. Ortoño clarified that the confidential funds were disbursed by Acosta, but the confidential activities were implemented by Lachica. The trial is set to resume on September 1, with the prosecution panel presenting witnesses Colonel Manaros Boransing II and Colonel Magtanggol Panopio. Defense lawyer Michael Poa and Marisa Grande of the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, are also set to appear as witnesses on September 2. In the meantime, Office of the Vice President Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortoño returned to the witness stand for the day 19 of the impeachment trial, with Senator judges questioning him regarding the medicine items under the OVP's confidential funds. Ortoño clarified he was not the main implementer of the confidential activities, leaving him with no personal knowledge. Bernard Ferrer gets us into the details on today's proceedings.
I cannot answer, sir, if invented, sir.
That was a response of Office of the Vice President, Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortoño, when Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo asked when the unusual names listed on acknowledgement receipts came from or whether they were invented in connection with the use of confidential funds.
So, sino po mga nag-invento at saan galing yung mga alias po na yun? Is that Colonel Lachica o sa grupo ninyo, sila Chippy McDonald, sila Pusa, Aso, etc. May sila Bagong. Who invented those?
But as to the AR, sir, I cannot provide information, sir, because I do not have any participation in the implementation of the confidential activity.
Tulfo also asked Ortoño whether he had read and understood the provisions of COA DBM Joint Circular number 2015-01, which sets the rules for the use and liquidation of the confidential funds.
Ginoong testigo, nabasa niyo po ba na mabuti at naintindihan ang nilalaman ng Joint Memorandum Circular, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, I was able to read it, and based on my understanding, I was able to understand the contents of the JMC.
Nung kayo po ay pinadalahan na ng Notice of Disallowance ng COA, nabasa niyo rin po ba kung bakit kayo po pinadalahan? Food, grocery packs, or household goods And that kung ito po ay reward, dapat po specific, targeted financial payouts lamang po at hindi po pwedeng ibili ng mga gamot o ng mga upuan bilang reward. Naintindihan niyo po ba yun?
Sir, based on my understanding, sir, that is the initial observation coming from the COA, and we were able to provide comment on that on our replies.
Meanwhile, Senator Judge Francis Kiko Pangilinan asked why medicines were given as rewards informants and why the OVP did not conduct a bidding process for the purchase of the medicines.
Bakit gamot? Would you know?
Sir, I would not know, sir, but although based on the information that was shared to me by the security officer, those were parang yun po yung representation or yun daw po yung inilapit ng mga informants or agents that they needed at the time.
Pero hindi nyo alam kung talagang gamot ang binili.
I would have no idea, sir, on the implementation, sir.
You were head of the BAC, Bids and Awards.
Bids and Awards.
So familiar ka, pagka regular purchases, dapat may bidding ang medicines.
Correct, sir.
Diba?
Yes, sir.
So, kung yun ang pinaliwanag sa'yo, sa loob ng 9 na buwan, hindi mo ba tinanong o hindi mo ba sinita na dapat pagka medicines, dapat bidding? Kasi ako ang head ng Bids and Awards. Alam ko yan eh.
Sir, I was only made aware of the concern regarding the medicines and food supply, sir, when the AOM, when we received the AOM, which was around October of 2023, sir. So that was parang almost 9 months after the 2022 na implementation for the confidential funds.
Okay. So, hindi mo alam kung bakit gamot, no? Sinabi lang sa'yo, no? Pero bilang in charge ng financial services, yun na nga, hindi mo rin talaga alam kung yung 122 million ay gamot ang binili.
For that purpose, sir, I would have no personal knowledge, sir.
Senator Judge Bagong asked Ortonio whether the OVP conducted an internal investigation and whether Security Officer Colonel Raymond Lachica was called following the discovery of unusual names on the acknowledgement receipts for the confidential funds.
On that matter, sir, I do not know, sir, if there is an instruction coming from the head of agency, sir. But personally to me, sir, none, sir.
Pinatawag niyo po ba ng inyong opisina at pina-explain kung nasaan ba itong perang to?
Sir, I was only able to request na makausap si Colonel Lachica.
Aquino responded to Senator Judge Robin Padilla after Padilla mentioned that Aquino's uncle, former Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr., had once used an alias.
Tama po, si Ninoy Aquino po ang kanyang alias ay Marshal Bonifacio para makauwi po siya sa Pilipinas nung nasa Boston siya. Pero wala naman ho siyang confidential funds na, wala ho siya sa mga AR na confidential funds. Lilinawin ko lang ho.
Ortonio was also asked about Colonel Lachica's employment status at the OVP. According to Ortonio, Lachica was not an OVP employee despite handling millions of pesos in confidential funds. After 2 days of testifying before the impeachment court, Ortonio's direct and cross-examination as well as the interjection from the senator judges concluded today. Bernard Ferrer for The Nation.
The Senate impeachment court opened the 19th day of the trial against Vice President Sara Duterte with a discussion on attorney Virgil Legutan's misleading remarks, which he posted on social media, prompting the defense panel to request for the court's action for possible violation. The prosecution also conducted a redirect examination with OVP Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortonio. Carl Luis Candelaria gets us up to speed in this report.
Prosecution counsel Attorney Amando Virgil Legutan made a counter-manifestation in response to questions raised over his social media post while the impeachment trial was ongoing. In his August 12 post, Legutan said, misleading questions are not allowed even on cross-examination. This came after defense counsel Attorney Christine Ferrer responded, it is allowed, to prosecution counsel Attorney Lorna Capunan's statement that misleading questions is not allowed during the impeachment trial.
Now the defense is asking this court to act on my post. It is elevating it to a serious courtroom violation. But what did I violate? I did not discuss the merits of the case. I did not discuss the strength or the weakness of the oral arguments or evidence of either side. I only stated, without mentioning any name, using the most neutral of font color and background, black and gray, without adding any emoticon, without splicing anything. What the rules of procedure simply provide, that misleading questions are not allowed, even on cross-examination.
Ligutan insisted that he made the post because of his teacher instinct to correct what he believed was a mistake and to teach his students. Meanwhile, presiding officer Senator Francis Escudero warned members of the Senate impeachment court, including the prosecution and defense, against making public comments that could affect the merits of the case.
As senator judges, let us keep in mind our oath, quote, to do impartial justice according to the Constitution and the laws of the Philippines, close quotations. And the requirement under Rule 3 of the Rules of Impeachment to observe political neutrality therein defined as, quote, the exercise of a public's official duty without unfair discrimination and regardless of party affiliation or preference.
Escudero also reminded the senator judges to avoid unparliamentary remarks, personal attacks, and offensive language during the proceedings. He said the two-strike rule under Rule 18 or the sub judice rule will be enforced against members of the impeachment court, including the prosecution and defense. The presiding officer said there would be no problem with the ruling if the counsel of each side designates a separate spokesperson. The prosecution panel, for its part, said it respects and will comply with the ruling, but the impeachment court must clarify the scope and exemptions of the sub judice rule, especially while the presiding officer is still issuing the ruling. Vice President Sara Duterte also issued a statement challenging the prosecution panel to prove its allegations through evidence rather than insults. The Vice President also said the prosecution should not go fishing for evidence.
That statement of, say, fishing for evidence, isn't that already a discussion of the merits or perhaps a question being raised against the integrity of the impeachment court? So, ano ba yan? Saklaw ba yan nung sinasabing Rule 18? Kaya gusto natin na magkaroon ng clarification ng ating impeachment court, no? Tungkol dyan.
There's a clear exemption, no, to that sub judice rule under jurisprudence, which is the doctrine of true, fair, and accurate reporting. So meaning, if you're just, for example, quoting what has already been stated by the witness, in open court, and if you talk about it publicly, that should not be a violation of the sub judice rule.
Before the defense began its cross-examination, Defense Counsel Attorney Christine Ferrer clarified that she was not saying misleading questions are allowed during cross-examination.
Just to put the record straight, Your Honor, when I said they are allowed, I was referring to leading questions, Your Honor, because the journal dated August 12, 2019 would show that I was indeed asking a leading question before Attorney Kapunan objected, Your Honors.
If I heard it, if the whole legal profession heard it, if this courtroom heard it, if the outside audience heard it, then it must be, it is what it is. She had said misleading is allowed, and I responded to that, and I'd like that to be on record, Your Honor. Let us not mislead again this honorable court.
Meanwhile, during the prosecution's redirect examination of OVP Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortoño, he admitted that he had no personal knowledge of where the confidential funds were spent or used. He also confirmed that Colonel Raymond Dante La Chica, who disbursed the confidential funds, was not an organic employee of the OVP. AFP Colonel Manaros Boransing II and Colonel Magtanggol Panopio are scheduled to testify on September 1, while the prosecution had dropped retired Major General Adonis Bahaw as a witness. The prosecution panel also subpoenaed former DepEd Undersecretary and current Defense Counsel Attorney Michael Poa, as well as PSA Assistant National Statistician Marisa Grande, to testify in the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte on September 2. Carlo Candelaria for The Nation.
The Quezon City Regional Trial Court conducted oral arguments in connection with a case filed by the Department of Justice against Vice President Sara Duterte. The Justice Department argued that impeachment proceedings and criminal proceedings are distinct from each other and that the case against the Vice President may therefore still proceed. Arshili Natividad reports.
The camps of the prosecution and the defense of Vice President Sara Duterte faced off for the first time in the grave threats case filed against her by the Department of Justice or DOJ. This is in connection with the oral arguments called by the judge after the Vice President's legal counsel submitted a motion to quash. The case stemmed from VP Duterte's alleged threat in November 2024 that she had contracted someone to kill President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez if anything bad happens to her. The spokesperson for the DOJ, who personally attended the hearing at the Quezon City Regional Trial Court where the grave threats case was filed, said the process should proceed because the prosecution found sufficient evidence against the Vice President. He said the prosecution has prima facie evidence to file 3 counts of grave threats against VP Sara, or evidence that at first glance is sufficient to support an allegation or case unless proven otherwise during trial. He also noted that an ongoing impeachment case in the Senate does not mean criminal proceedings cannot proceed, as impeachment proceedings and criminal proceedings are different. An impeachment trial is a constitutional process to hold an impeachable official accountable and may result in removal from office and disqualification from holding any government position, while a criminal proceeding is a case subjected to a regular court to determine if there was a violation of law and if there is a criminal liability, something contested by the defense of Vice President Duterte. The Vice President's lawyer said that an impeachable official enjoys certain immunity and should not be charged while in office. Any charges, according to their camp, should be filed after their service, term, or tenure as an impeachable officer. Both the prosecution and defense have not yet provided full details on the hearing, but said they will await the QCRTC's decision on the motion to quash filed to dismiss the grave threats charges.
If the judge decides to proceed with the case, the court may issue an arrest warrant against the Vice President. However, the charge of grave threats is bailable. In the case filed by the DOJ, 120,000 peso bail was recommended. Sheila Natividad, for The Nation.
Ever since his detention at the Payatas jail over the flood control scam, Senator Jinggoy Estrada has whined about chronic pain in his right knee. After being granted a pass for today to check and scan his knee, Senator Jinggoy Estrada strangely collapses before he could leave for his medical consultation as a result of his left knee completely buckling down on account of a meniscus tear, which our Ron Lagusa details in this report.
Senator Jinggoy Estrada was assisted by BJMP personnel upon arriving at Cardinal Santos Medical Center, where he was seen having difficulty walking and appearing to be in pain. Meniscus tear or a torn meniscus in the left knee. These were the findings after Estrada underwent an X-ray and MRI at Cardinal Santos Medical Center. According to Dr. Fernando Siquia, they addressed the pain or discomfort experienced by Estrada.
I explained to the senator na these types of tears usually end up with surgery because pag you have a complete tear of the meniscus at the root level, then it is as if the meniscus is not functioning anymore. So if surgery would be necessary, then of course kailangan magpa-clearance, magpa-check-up, all the other tests necessary to clear him before any surgery can be done.
According to Estrada's camp, his left knee snapped, causing the senator to fall. This happened while Estrada was preparing to go to the hospital for his scheduled knee X-ray, which had earlier been approved by the Sandigan Bayan 5th Division. Estrada's camp had earlier said that the senator was experiencing osteoarthritis and joint effusion. According to the doctor, it is Estrada's right knee that has osteoarthritis. Meanwhile, the group Kingdom Keepers held a mass to call for the reversal of the Sandigan Bayan 3rd Division's decision, allowing former Senator Bong Revilla to post bail in the malversation case involving an alleged ghost flood control project in Pandi, Bulacan.
Aalsa ang buong bansang Pilipinas kapag kayo ay nagkamali na naman. Ituwid niyo pagkakamali niyo. Ibalik niyo si Bong Revilla sa dapat niyang kalagyan. Tama ba? Kung tama yan, iparinig nyo sa isang maingay na palakpakan. Tama! Ikulong si Bong Revilla!
The group also expressed support for the Office of the Ombudsman's action.
We fully support Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulia's move to file a motion for reconsideration and commend Associate Justice Carl Miranda for his courageous dissent.
The group questioned how the court allowed Revilla to post bail in the malversation case he is facing. The group held a prayer rally in front of the Sentro Balita where they prayed, held a short program, and left the area peacefully. Rod Lagusad for The Nation.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, announced the successful completion of the 19th Multilateral Maritime Cooperative Activity, or MMCA, in the West Philippine Sea. In the meantime, the Philippines is now the largest operator of S-70I variant of Black Hawk helicopters, following the arrival of 7 newly acquired units in the country. Patrick De Jesus has more in this report.
The Philippine Air Force now has the complete 32 additional S-70I Black Hawk helicopters. This Wednesday, the PAV formally accepted the 7 Black Hawk helicopters that comprise the final batch of deliveries during a blessing ceremony at Villamor Air Base in Pasay City. The additional Black Hawk helicopters arrived in the country in separate batches beginning in 2024. These were purchased from Poland under the AFP Modernization Program Horizon 2 at a cost of 32 billion pesos.
Acquiring the aircraft is only one part of the capability development. Our task now is to keep these helicopters ready, safe, sustainable, and available for the missions they are acquired to perform.
The PAF now has a total of 47 S-70I Black Hawk helicopters in its fleet, including the initial acquisition in 2019, making the Philippines the largest operator of the said aircraft in the world. As a combat utility helicopter, the Black Hawk has proven its capability in the military security operations as well as in humanitarian assistance and disaster response, or HADR operations. The helicopters will be deployed to different regions across the Philippines.
These Black Hawk helicopters can fly not only day but also night. It's an all-weather helicopter. It can provide the fast rope insertion and extrication system capability. It can actually carry yung bucket of water if merong sunog po anywhere in the Philippines. It can also carry heavy load, say for example, yung mga 105mm cannon ng ating Philippine Army. It can carry loads of cargoes, especially during HADR operations.
Some of the PAF's older helicopters, including the UVs, are expected to be retired after long years of service.
At this point in time, we're still using some of them, but we have plans already of decommissioning them in the years to come. So these helicopters are actually the replacement for the aging fleet of UH-1H helicopters.
Meanwhile, maritime interoperability and operational coordination were strengthened during the 19th Multilateral Maritime Cooperative Activity in the West Philippine Sea involving the Philippines, the United States, and Australia. The exercise was conducted from August 19 to 25. The Philippine Navy deployed the BRP Diego Silang along with the BRP Teresa Magbanwa of the Philippine Coast Guard. The United States participated with the USS Santa Barbara, while Australia deployed the HMAS Supply. Apart from the ships, air assets were also used. The three countries' MMCA focused on communication exercises, maritime domain awareness, anti-submarine warfare, and replenishment at sea. It also highlights the deepening defense cooperation among the Philippines, the US, and Australia, and their commitment to promoting peace in the Indo-Pacific region. Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
Local government units, or LGUs, are set to receive more funding in 2027 through a proposed increase in the Local Government Support Fund, or LGSF. The palace said the proposed LGSF for next year will reach 58.53 billion pesos, higher than the 57.87 billion pesos allocated this year. The fund will support infrastructure and social development projects, including farm-to-market roads, water systems, health facilities, bridges, and disaster-resilient community facilities. Malacanang stressed that the national government's responsibility does not end with the release of funds, as the use of the allocation will be closely monitored. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro said the increase reflects the national government's effort to listen to the concerns and recommendations of local government leaders, while ensuring that the funds are used transparently and for their intended purpose. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is open to proposals to toughen penalties for the illegal possession of loose firearms or unlicensed guns. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla has proposed imposing up to 20 years in prison and removing bail for illegal firearm possession. Malacanang said the president must first review the actual version of the proposed law before taking a formal position. The palace also stressed that Marcos will not stand in the way of any measure that could help strengthen public safety. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro said the president is open to stronger penalties, but needs to study the provisions first before making an informed comment. Social Security System, or SSS, is continuously expanding their coverage under the Transpo Caravan, which aims to reach the transport sector, including their families. Elijah Canlas details the services offered by the program in this report.
The Social Security System has brought its service directly to public utility vehicle drivers, operators, and transport workers to assist them with their monthly contributions and membership registrations. Under the Transpo Caravan program, the agency delivered immediate assistance across 49 designated hubs in Metro Manila. Here, the agency accepted new registrations, inquiries on contributions, membership reactivations, and questions regarding benefit packages such as retirement, disability, and death benefits, as well as salary and pension loans. One of the busiest locations was the Transpo Caravan Hub, set up in front of a mall in Pasay. According to Joel Loyola, branch head of SSS Pasay CCP Complex, many patronize their booth near the UV Express Terminal.
Ang ginagawa ng SSS ay nilalapit namin ang serbisyo dahil alam naman natin na napaka-hectic ng schedule ng mga drivers natin ngayon na walang oras para pumunta sa SSS branches. So kami nang bahalang lumapit sa kanila para tulungan sila para i-reactivate ang kanilang membership.
He added that early preparation is essential for a safe and protected future. We also met UV Express driver Jonathan Encinas waiting in line. He said the caravan is a great help, especially for those who spend most of their day driving on the road.
Actually, tulad ko po, example ako, natigil ako ng pag-uhulong SSS 2018 dahil nag-pandemic. Hindi ko na po naayos. Dumating kayo. Ngayon, na okay na po. Kaya nagpapasalamat po ako sa SSS.
Fellow UV Express driver Jonathan Yalung also expressed his gratitude for the quick reactivation of his Social Security account.
Matagal na rin po ako nahinto sa sa paghulog ng SSS.
On a normal day po, saan po talaga kayo naghuhulog?
Dati sa company. Mula nung natigil ako sa trabaho sa company, hindi ko na naituloy, pero itutuloy ko pagkaano.
They are just among the 40,000 transport workers the agency targets to assist in this one-day caravan. The Transpo Caravan was inaugurated in Barangka Drive, Mandaluyong City this morning. SSS NCR Operations Group Acting Senior Vice President Benjamin Dolindo and other agency officials attended the event. The agency also aims to reach more sectors and expand its offered benefits in upcoming programs. Elijah Canlas for The Nation.
A core member of Team Pinas highlighted the importance of uniting Filipinos despite political differences and fighting against social media disinformation. This during the Gen Zennial tour held in a popular university in Manila. Gab Villegas tells us more.
The group Team Pinas conducted their so-called Gen Zennial tour for students of Far Eastern University or FEU. The activity aims to raise awareness among the youth regarding issues affecting the country, particularly the West Philippine Sea and the ongoing impeachment against Vice President Sara Duterte. According to a core member of the group, Attorney Dino De Leon, it is important to unite Filipinos despite their differences in political beliefs and to combat disinformation spreading on social media. He said our loyalty as Filipinos should remain with the rule of law, the Constitution, and the flag of our country.
Tayo mga Gen Zennials, Gen Z and Millennials will be the most voted force 2028 and beyond. Ibig sabihin tayo na magkocontrol ng bansang ito. Hindi na tayo dapat magpaloko sa kanila. Kailangan natin ng pagbabago. It's all about reclaiming our future.
The tour also discussed how TikTok is being utilized as a tool to spread disinformation about the West Philippine Sea and how to detect this kind of content on social media. FEU students also participated in a P-pop style like stick voting, where students engage in an interactive discussion on important issues. The group's Gen Zennial tour is expected to continue in other universities nationwide in the coming weeks. Gabomil de Villegas for The Nation.
Oil prices extended their sharp decline on Tuesday as signs of easing tensions between the United States and Iran eased fears of a broader military conflict and potential supply disruptions in the Middle East. Brent crude fell more than 6.5% to around $86.20 per barrel, extending its 2.4% drop in the previous session. U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate or WTI also declined by 5.5% to $80.40 per barrel. The sell-off came as investors assess renewed diplomatic efforts between Washington and Tehran, including mediation efforts by Qatar and a visit to Tehran by Pakistan's army chief. Markets also took cues from reports that the United States could soon return diplomats evacuated from the region, further easing concerns over an imminent, wider military confrontation. The decline accelerated after new U.S. measures to pressure Iran economically appeared less severe than expected. Meanwhile, significant volumes of crude continue to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, a key route for global oil shipments. This helping ease immediate concerns over a major supply shortage. And in other news, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, issued a reminder to all cockpit arena operators to ensure their compliance to the agency's regulation. This following an operation where 11 cockpit arenas were found with 297 betting machines, computerized betting units, servers, and other devices that have no permits to use and no BIR records to show for. These machines were immediately sealed and confiscated. BIR Commissioner Charlito Mendoza stressed that cockpit arena operators need to ensure their machines for recording betting transactions are BIR registered. The BIR is eyeing to expand the operation across the country and ordered all revenue regions and revenue district offices to identify and verify the operating cockpit arena in their respective areas. In the meantime, the Department of Agrarian Reform and the Development Bank of the Philippines, or DBP, have signed an agreement to expand their collaboration under the Agri-Agra Fund, particularly in providing capacity development programs for beneficiaries. The training programs will cover leadership, planning, financial management, and other skills aimed at strengthening the capabilities of beneficiaries. The DAR will also partner with state universities and colleges to implement the training programs. Through this partnership, the DAR and DBP aim to further strengthen support for agrarian reform beneficiaries and help them grow and sustain their livelihoods. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is continuously providing support to agricultural sectors in the form of financial assistance. This specifically for farmers and landowners who are affected by the infestation of red-striped soft-scale insects, or RSSI, across sugarcane plantations in the Negros Island region. Each qualified beneficiaries have received 10,325 pesos in cash aid, which can be used as additional funding for basic necessities as they face infestation challenges. This initiative is in line with the directive of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to extend necessary support to workers facing challenges in their livelihoods. The Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, confirmed that the online game Gorebox has agreed to the removal of their platform in the Philippines. DICT Secretary Henry Aguda clarified that the decision was mutual, which was made after reaching out to the developer as part of due process. He stressed that they issued a notice to the developer and asked them for their preventive measures against the harmful effects of the game. The official added that the developer themselves voluntarily agreed to have them removed and blocked from the country after their failure to provide a response. Meanwhile, Secretary Aguda is scheduled to meet with the executives of gaming platform Roblox in Singapore regarding the remaining 2 safety compliance requirements, specifically the integration of the national ID system for verification process and the establishment of a physical office in the Philippines. We'll now give you the latest buzz here at Pop Culture Corner. First up, Liza Soberano has been named as a jury member for the Golden Globes Impact Prize for documentary at the Venice Film Festival. The award, presented by the Artemis Rising Foundation, will recognize a documentary feature that highlights important social issues through compelling storytelling. Soberano says she believes films can go beyond entertainment by challenging injustice, inspiring hope, and highlighting shared humanity. Meanwhile, Soberano is set to lend her voice to the DreamWorks animation film Forgotten Island, which will premiere in the Philippine theaters on September 23. The film, written and co-directed by Filipino-American filmmaker Januel Mercado, follows 2 best friends who become stranded on a magical island where their memories may hold the key to finding their way home. Lisa is set to make her comeback with a new EP titled Press Play, which is scheduled for release on October 23. The Blackpink member also announced that the EP's first single, Sawadika, will be released on September 3rd. Lisa made her solo debut in 2021 with La Lisa and later released her debut solo album, Alter Ego, in 2025. In the meantime, her documentary, Always La Lisa, is set to have its world premiere at the 2026 Toronto International Film Festival. Filipino pole vaulter Ernest John Obiena finished 7th in the Silesia leg of the Diamond League after clearing 5.80 meters in Chorzów, Poland. Obiena cleared 5.80 meters on his first attempt, but failed to get over 5.90 meters on his next 2 tries. He then attempted 6 meters on his final try, but could not clear the bar. Meanwhile, Swedish superstar Armand Monto Duplantis claimed another victory after clearing 6.20 meters. Obiena now turns his attention to the World Athletics Ultimate Championships in Budapest this September before defending his Asian Games pole vault title in Nagoya, Japan. The Filipino star is targeting back-to-back gold medals and hopes to surpass his own 5.90-meter Asian Games record. And before we end our newscast, please do take the time to like, subscribe, or share PTV's social media pages flashing on your screen right now. It would go a long way and we would truly appreciate it. And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Sharm Zaspina. Join us again tomorrow on PTV News Tonight.